Hi everybody. I am so glad that you decided to join me again today for the second part of Rays of Sunshine by Bob Ross. Now this is one of the easier paintings. It was for me when I first started painting. And I love the fact that I could work with gesso and then come back and use my oil paints to truly make this painting pop. A lot of people like it just like it is. They would rather have the black and white, and it is. It's very pretty. The one thing that I also love about Bob Ross is that you work from your background forward, and I think that's pretty much a rule of thumb in any painting if you're doing landscapes. You want to start out with your base and then move forward to give it that 3D effect. That's what makes it real. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with our oil paints, no acrylics. This is good and dry, and that's a must when you are doing these types of paintings. Anything that Bob Ross has us start out with acrylics, that needs to dry really well, because you cannot put oil paint on top of acrylic paint. It just makes a really big mess. But today we're good and dry, so we're going to get started on this right away. I'm going to be using just a small amount of liquid clear. Now this is a Bob Ross product, of course, and that's what makes it a wet on wet. This will be a base coat over top of all of this acrylic that I've already done, and once I get that on and get it blended in good, then I will come back with my oil colors. We're going to be working with just a very few, so I'm not using my big Bob Ross palette today. I didn't really want to clean that big palette when I only had a few colors. We're going to be using titanium white, Prussian blue, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, artisan crimson, sap green, and Indian yellow. And when I set my palette up, I don't need a lot for this one, so there's not a whole lot on here, but I always go back and I pull down some of my paint. It makes it easier for me to throw that brush on there and pull up the colors that I need. So without any further waiting, let's get started. I'm going to be using a 2-inch brush to put this on. I'm going to go into just a little bit of my liquid clear, and you just work it in. And this might take a few minutes, so you guys bear with me. You guys, you ladies, whoever might be watching. And like I said, it doesn't take a whole lot of this, because if you put too much, it can cause you all kinds of problems. It can also cause your painting to slide right off of your canvas. And this is something that you definitely do not want to happen. Rub that in real good. I know I've heard a lot of horror stories from people that have talked about using the liquid clear, and they finish up their painting and they leave it upright and go away. And then they come back and all of a sudden their paints have run down, which I guess that, that's that could turn into some other type of art, but I'm not really good at that. But we are doing Bob Ross's technique, and we don't want our painting to slide off and go on the floor. So it doesn't take a lot of this. But again, you want to work it in real good. Usually, I will go back and still take a paper towel and go over it to make sure that if there is too much, that I get that excess off of there. So I'm giving you guys a few little tips here and there. Like I said, this is not really a teaching video. This is more of a demo. Just to let you guys see how much fun it is. The joy of painting. And I don't think there's ever a day that's not a good day to paint. So now I'm going to get me a paper towel, and I'm going to wipe that excess right off of there. See, you still got a lot that's sitting on top of the canvas, and it's not soaking in. but that's what you want. You know, you don't want to wipe it all off because you got to have something on that canvas to make your paints glide along so you can blend. All right. I would say we've got a pretty nice sheen going on here. So that's more than enough. I don't think I need to clean it any further. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to wipe that off really good too, because I don't want to take the liquid clear that I have on here and carry it back up to my painting. I've got it just right. I hope you guys are having good weather wherever you are. It's been cloudy and rainy here for about 3 days now. We've had a little bit of sunshine here and there, but the weather is absolutely wonderful. It's cooled down. We're starting to see the leaves change. Just a little, not a whole lot of color yet, but you know, after a while you start waiting for that color, but you see that dullness that comes in the leaves right before the color change. And we're starting to get that. I've got a couple that's out here. It's a little yellow, a little bit of red, but not a lot yet. And we're hoping to be able to get up on the parkway or maybe out in the Appalachians somewhere to enjoy it. So let's get going here. Let's get some color on this canvas and start bringing this picture to life. We're going to start out by going into just a little bit of phthalo blue. And this is going to be to put our sky in. I'm going to pull that out. And tap, tap, tap. Get that coated evenly. And we're going to start in the corner and work our way across and down. And I really, 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 really need a concrete block on my easel. So you guys bear with me. I'm a rocking and rolling a little bit. And as you work that color in and you start working it down, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter. And that's what you want. You don't want too much color in there because, I mean, we're walking in the woods, you know, and there's going to be a lot of shade back in there, especially when you're coming through some really thick woods. And I like using these little X strokes because it blends a lot better. I'm going to work this into the canvas really good, coming down, and come all the way down to the very tops of these bushes. Now, because I don't have a lot of color here, I want to add just a little bit more. So I'm not going to go way up there into the big chunk of paint. I'm going to stay right down here. Tap, tap, tap. Get those bristles covered evenly. And I'm going to start back at the top with it because I don't want to come down here and end up too dark. Ah, there we go. There's a little more color. I'm going to come across the very tops of these because I'm going to use that little bit of color later. Once I get that color in there just like I want it, I'm going to use strokes back and forth, horizontal, both ways. That way I know that it's a good even coverage. Now in doing this, what I want to achieve is I want whoever walks up to this painting, whoever's viewing this painting, I want their eyes to come in this way because I'm going to be creating sunshine right here with sun rays, and I want this painting to pull the viewer's eye inward, inward, inward. That way they feel like they're walking right up the path. So I'm going to take just a little bit of my Prussian blue, just a tiny bit, because this stuff is really, really strong, really dark color. Pull it out, tap, tap. And I'm going back up in the corners here. Now, I'm not going very far with it because I don't want to get it too dark. But I do want the corners darker. We're going to pull that down. Just like that. And that's about all I'm going to do with that. We've got those corners a little bit darker. And that kind of helps bring it all in. And we've still got plenty of nice light area back in here to work with. All right. Next thing we're going to do is I am going to wipe my brush off really good to get off some of that excess. Now, Bob would stop right in the middle of all this and probably rinse, wash his brush, and beat the devil out of it. Well, I'm in a house, and I'm in a house that we live in every day. So I'm not going to beat the devil out of it. I do have a wonderful can with a beater rack in it that I use sometimes. There's no need in me doing all that for this painting because it's so simple and we don't have a lot to do here. So I'm just going to wipe that off real good. Got it pretty clean, and I think I'm going to go back with, let's see, what color do I want? I think I'm going to go with my Indian yellow, and we're going to add some color right down in here on these bushes. So we're going to go into the edge of that. We're going to pull it down, tap, pull it. And it's better to come over here and tap, because if you're tapping up there, you're really just adding more chunks. Alright, so we're going to come in here with little extra strokes and watch this painting come to life. And you can literally go as wild or mild as you want to with this. But I want this to be brighter right in here, because this is where my sun's going to be coming from. And you see where I put those extra chunks of foliage with my acrylic paints. It looks like it's setting out, and it puts some of these up at the top kind of back a little bit. And that's again where you get that 3D effect. Okay, and as you come down into this, you're going to be more in the shade. So we're going to go from there over to our alizarin crimson. I'm going to get a little bit of my alizarin crimson and a little bit of my sap green. Put them together here on the palette. And you can actually mix this right on the brush if you want to. You don't have to do it the way that I'm doing it. But it doesn't take a whole lot of paint. Again, this does not take a lot of paint because we've already got an undercovering that's going to show these other opaque colors that they're kind of like see-through a little bit. I guess that's how you would explain it. There's a better definition than what I'm giving you, but it's how they work. So I'm going to go into this. I'm going to load my brush up. Not too much color. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to start down here because it's darker down here. And we're going to put in a little bit of color. And like I said, you can go as mild or as wild as you want to with this. But this will be your lower area of the forest as you're walking through and enjoying your day. Maybe took a picnic lunch like I do. I'm an avid hiker, so I love to make a day of it when I'm going out hiking. Now I'm going to work that up a little bit, and I'm going to even carry a little bit up into some of these trees over here. Pull a little sneaky on you. That kind of helps it to blend in. And you know what? I want a little bit more. I want it a little bit darker, but we want to stay sort of to the red side because that green will kind of overpower that red if you're not careful. Now we are trying to create a little bit of a green cast in these bushes, but we don't want to overdo it, because most of Bob's paintings, if you'll notice, tend to be really subtle. Now we do have, there are some paintings that are very, very vibrant that he does, and the colors are just crazy jumping off the page at you. But most of his landscapes are really subtle, and I think it helps to give a more real effect. All right. Now, that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to actually add just a little bit more of my blue and my green. Well, you know what? I think what I'm going to try to do is I think I'm going to put a little tiny bit of green in there without anything else. The blue and the yellow make green, but I want a little bit more of a green cast. And it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. There we go. There we go. Almost another layer. Another small layer of bushes right here. And it'd be darker as you go away from this area where it's going to be so much light. I feel a little bit better about that. Yeah. Looks a little bit like some of my Appalachian Trail hikes. There we go. All right. Now we've basically got some nice color in here. We've got a nice sky going. Now what we want to create is that sun glow. I love doing these. Now this is going to call for our titanium white. And what we want to do is we want to use, you know what? I'm gonna be a rebel. I love my big brushes, but I can control my little brushes a whole lot better because I'm little and got little hands. So we're going to take the edge of that and we're going to go into that titanium white, which is a very, very thick paint, very stiff paint. And I want to get quite a bit on there because I'm starting out creating a place where that sun is coming through. And I think my sun should probably be somewhere right in here. And you know, when you're walking through the woods, if you're facing towards the sun, and that's some of my favorite things, is to just walk through the woods and see the sun shining through those beautiful leaves. It almost blinds you, and you can't really see the tree that it's coming through. So I want to create that sun right here, that pretty glow. And you want to work out. You want to work out from that. I'm starting to pick up a little bit of that blue now, but that's okay. That's okay. That's why you want to work out with your brush. Every time you go back into your brush, though, go back into your paint with your brush, you want to start in the middle and work out. But now if you're using a brush and you are picking up some of the blue, wipe it off a little bit on your paper towel before you go back. I'm teaching more than I'm demonstrating. That's the teacher in me. Anyway, we're going to get a little bit more white paint. And we're going right back here in the middle because I want to keep that nice and bright. And now I'm going to start focusing more on how far I want that sun to shine in the forest. Sorry. I'm going to get a concrete block soon. And I think that sun is really bright today. But you know, in your world, it could be evening, it could be morning. It may be a little darker, it may be a little lighter in your world than in mine. and I'm liking that. I'm going to wipe that brush off a little bit. I'm going back into just a little bit more of my titanium white. Whew, that stuff is stiff. It was sitting on my palette for just a little bit too, so that probably firmed it up even more than what it already was. Let's see, maybe a little more like there. I'll work around. I want to bring a little bit more light down here. Let me step back and take a look. Yeah, I really like that. All right. Now, you got to be careful how much you stay in one spot with this too, because you will end up blending it in too much and taking away from what you have here. All right, now we've got that sun setting there, and what we want now is rays. Wipe that brush off again, get that blue paint off of there if you possibly can, much of it as you can. And in order to make those rays, I'm going to go back into my titanium white just a little bit, not a whole lot. I'm going to create my first sun ray. Let's see. I'm going to start right here, and we're going to come on down. And there we have it. That easy. And I want some more. I want more rays than that because that sun's really bright in my world. So I'm going to take just the edge of my brush. And I'm really bad about gripping up on my ferrule and my brush. Again, my hands are little. I was warned about that. I was warned to hold my brush back here. But sometimes we kind of got to tweak our own thing. You know, we got to do it the way we can handle it. Let's see here. Let's have another ray. How about right there? Okay, we're going to come right down. Shoo, 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 shoo. Need to make those sounds. There we go. I got another one, and I think the other side's going to get jealous if it doesn't have some rays coming out on that side. So we don't want any jealousy in this painting here. Let's come from here and let's pop one in right here, and we're going to go way down with that one. Ah, I can feel the heat coming off that sun already. Yeah, I like it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit up this way. Not a lot. But I want it to be realistic. I want you to be able to buy it, you know. And now I'm just going to blend that all in really good. Maybe even a little up that way. Because that sun's bright. That sun's bright today. And you want to be real careful when you blend this. You don't want to blend it out so much that, you know, there's nothing left there. But you definitely want to blend it out enough that it looks real, that it's not too bright. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick up a dry, clean brush, because a dry, clean brush will pull more paint off. It is just a little bit brighter than what I would have it to be. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to feather that out a little bit more, because I don't want it too bright. I don't want to get it too bright. I want it to look red. And that one's a little bit brighter than I would have it to be on the top there. Let me step back so I can see it. And you know, if you're painting with a light, sometimes you can also turn that light off and it changes everything. But because I've got viewers, I want them to be able to see exactly what I'm doing here. Alright, well, I'm feeling like I want to add a little something else to this painting. I don't know why, but I'm just feeling the need to get risky. Let's get risky. Let's see. Actually, this is pretty much a finished painting. Bob would have stopped here and probably signed his name to it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this brush down here, and I'm going to pick this other one up that I was putting the blue in with. And I want some more color down here. I'm wanting to put in maybe some more greenery, more green. Even though it's fall in this picture, for me it's fall, I'm wanting to see maybe some a little bit of green on the floor. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I'm going to get a little tiny bit. I've got Bob Ross paint thinner. And I'm going to put just a tiny dab of this paint thinner. You know what? I don't need paint thinner today. Yeah, I do. Just a little tiny dab of that paint thinner on here. And you got to be careful when you start using paint thinner on top of liquid white, because they have a really nasty reaction. It causes speckles and all kinds of stuff on your painting. And that's probably not where we want to go today. I mean, it would would create some really cool leafage look here. But because this is so close to the eye right in here, I'm really not wanting to do that. So I'm just going to use just barely enough to thin this paint down just a tiny bit more. Let's see here. There we go. I'm actually going into some more of my green. And I think I'm going to pick up a little more of this Indian yellow, which will tone that green down. I'm going to grab a little bit of my titanium white. And you see that color that it's producing? It's toning that green down. Alright. Now I'm going to load this brush up real good. And you know what? It's helping me to use up this paint too. And this is a little bit older of a brush, so I'm not getting everything I want. But it's okay. What I'm doing is I am creating a heel and a toe on this brush. And I'm going to attempt, down here in this bottom, to maybe do a little bit more green foliage. And it is darker, so let's see what happens. That might be a little bright. I'm going to tone it down just a little bit more. A little bit more. Tone it down just a little bit more, because I don't want to offset the entire painting. And see, I've got that heel there. So I'm going to come along and I'm going to... There we go. I like that green. I like that green. I'm going to kind of add this as I go down through here. Maybe some grassy area. Load the brush up again. A little bit more paint on there. I'm kind of creating some little greener bushes back in here. Okay. Now I'm going to pull my brush different. I'm going to pull my brush straight in. And what I want to do is I want to create a little bit of a grassiness that comes down through there. Still, again, I'm going to try not to get too bright with it, because it wouldn't be real bright out here. And I'm going to tap, 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 tap. Tap a little grassy area. There we go. And that changes the picture. It gives it a little bit more depth. And I don't think I want to put more depth over here. But I'm also seeing something else that I want to do now. Yeah, I can just keep going. I could just keep going here. I'm seeing things now that I didn't see before. And when you start painting, you will find that when you step back from your painting, all of a sudden that imagination level hits the roof. And you start seeing things that you didn't see before. And you want to start adding and adding. But there's also a place where less is best. So be real careful, because you can have a beautiful painting, you can destroy it within seconds. Yeah, you can, because sometimes too much is too much. But then again, it's your world. So you got to do what you got to do. I am wanting to put maybe some little stringy, leafy, grassy things in here to fill up some of this area that is, there's nothing going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my trusty little liner brush, and instead of going and trying to mix anything, I'm going to get, I have some Liquid Black by Bob Ross, and I keep it in my really cool little dishwashing soap thing here, because it's worked for me better than trying to get it out of those jars. And I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of this on my palette. Just a little. Doesn't take much of this. It goes a long, long ways. And I don't know that I want this to be black. So I'm going to tone it a little bit with this white that I've got here. Just a little bit of titanium white. If I can rake enough up. There, let me pull some of that out. Now I'm only going to use just a tiny, tiny dab of that black, because what I want to create is just like a little stringy, bushy, like something sticking up there. Let's see. Like I say, it don't take much of this. Doesn't take much. Put a little Artisan Crimson in there. I'm mixing up all kinds of colors here, so you guys bear with me. There we go. Now I'm getting a darker brownish. I'm looking for a kind of a brown color. And I'm still, even at this stage, being a certified Bob Ross instructor, I'm still learning about mixing colors. And when I go off on a whim like this, I can get myself in a lot of trouble. But I'm kind of spontaneous and adventurous anyway. So I'm taking a chance. So, alright, I'm going to go into this brown. I'm going to roll that brush. I'm getting just a tiny bit of the liquid clear on there too, to help this move across my painting. And I am going to see if I can create a stick of some sort. Yeah, there we go. Just some little sticky things that's around to give it a little bit more oomph. And you know, you can, like I said, you can go from mild to wild doing these paintings. Or you can just do a little and leave it be. Now, being that I'm putting this stick right here, I'm going to have to go back and work this in, because you can't leave that, can't just leave that floating in the air. My the wonderful lady that was my instructor, she definitely said we couldn't have floating trees, and I get it. I'm cool with that, because floating trees are not cool unless that's your world and you're creating a place where you can do anything. You know, I used to dream about when I was a kid. I used to dream about purple snow. And I always said that one day, maybe when I make it to heaven, not maybe make it to heaven, when I make it to heaven, there'll be some purple snow up there. So we'll see. All right. I'm really getting risky, because the more I put in, the more I got to cover up and fix and change. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to make this difficult, because this is an easier painting. So I'm going to go back in here and pick up a little bit of these colors. Let me be careful here what I'm doing, because there we go. Let's work that back in there. See, when you put that bottom on there, it works that that branch, the little stringy branches, right back into your painting. You got to be careful doing this too, because you don't want to mix mud. Don't want to be a mud mixer. But you know what's wonderful? In these classes that I'm offering, if you mix mud, we can fix it. Because there are no mistakes. There are only happy accidents. Well, I think that's going to about do it for today. I would like to sign this painting. And let me get just a little bit more of my thinner. And I think I'll put that right there. I believe I'm going to go with a darker color. I don't like to sign my paintings the same color all the time, because they jump out at you. And I don't want somebody to walk up to my painting and go, "Oh, you're L who?" You know, instead of, "Oh, wow, what a beautiful picture. I'm like right there." And you can do that with certain colors, because they will jump right off of that canvas at them. Let's see, what color would be good for today? I don't know. How about a dark blue? Let's go with this Prussian blue over here in the corner. And there it is. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a wonderful day. Any day I paint is a great day. I am offering private classes right now. I am looking for different places to go to establish my big classes. And this is exciting for me. It's an exciting time. So give me a holler. I hope to see you again soon. And I hope you've enjoyed this painting. You can do this. You can do this. There's no doubt in my mind. Remember, this is the person that drew a stick person on a canvas and it run off from me. You don't have to have done this before. You don't even have to draw. If you can draw, that's great. You can make even more glamorous pictures. But even your average Joe that has never held a paintbrush can do this. I want to encourage you. You guys have a great day. Happy painting, and God bless.